everyone at EBMC Live. Hello, Miss Honoree. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You're not getting any echo today, right? This is good.
No, this is great.
Fantastic.
You don't get
Look,
to be Princess Leia today.
I don't even know what to do right now with myself.
Are
I
you
don't.
just
It's like,
playing?
yeah, maybe I should just put them on for the sake of just wearing them and sweating. Have you ever sat for like a whole hour or two, like consecutive, with those things on? I feel like an
Mm,
Eskimo.
when I recorded my audiobook, I sure did in a studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important for making sure that you cut out all of their noise when you're recording in those mic sensitive spaces.
Oh, and it picked up everything. Big shout out to my producer, Bonsai Caruso, who produced that audiobook. And I guess it was miserable because the guy had said, "Oh no, it won't pick up the squeaking chair." I was sitting in a high chair,
Ah,
and apparently there was some background noise
oh yeah.
for all
It-
3 hours of it. Good times. Yeah. It wasn't selective noise, it was consistent noise.
Did you have to re-record the whole 3 hours?
No, he managed to he's a Grammy winning producer. He was able to crush the noise.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was very grateful because it's no joke, that audiobook recording game. It's an Olympic marathon.
So you outsource your, well, not outsource, but you have a narrator now for your audiobooks, right?
Well, yes.
Right.
Yes, although I have gotten some pushback. People say, "I want to hear you do it." And it's a tiring venture, but I think I might just suck it up and do them in the future.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with your writing style. As a reader of your books, a fan of your stuff, before we ever exchanged words face to face, I hear your voice when I read your words,
Mm.
because you write in a very conversational, clean way, which I think is fantastic. It actually makes the read faster and easier, and you are less distracted by the writing and trying to navigate the writing,
Yeah.
and you're just constantly absorbing. I think it's one of the magic of your approach to authoring. So I can sympathize with the fact that people will want to hear you read them.
It's a good problem to have, right? Like, I'd rather have you read it as opposed to, I know that there are some narrators I don't enjoy as much as others.
Right.
And some people, when I listen to them talk on television, I think, does no one tell them that their voice is awful? They shouldn't be talking. No, stop it. Zip it. Shh, be quiet.
Wait, are
I'm
you
not
saying you don't want to hear a Rosie Perez audiobook?
Oh no, she would crack me up. Although I think after a while, like, enough would be enough, right? Like, some things are funny in small doses.
Yeah.
But there are just some people, when I listen to them talk, they don't have a pleasant tone
Mm, right.
or pitch,
Yep.
or they talk with a thing in their voice like this, and it's awful. And they're on hours and hours of television, to the point to where I, even if I wanted to watch the content, I wouldn't.
Mm, yeah. No,
Because
I'm
it's
with you on
the
that.
voice is not pleasing. My husband happens to have a lovely Southern accent, which
Yeah.
I describe as, it sounds like melted caramel.
Oh,
When he talks, it sounds like melted caramel to me, except when he's yelling.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a clean conversation with Byron anymore after this. The whole time he's talking, I'm going to be like, "What was that? Can you repeat yourself?" It's like,
Can you say that again? Yeah.
give me some more of that melted caramel, Byron.
Yeah. No, he just has a really lovely, and we met over the phone at first. So, you know,
Excellent. Well, he was a telemarketer, right? No, I'm joking.
yes. Yeah. Selling timeshares
In Vegas.
in the Poconos.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I, I just, Yeah, we had absolutely, by the way, guys, we had no idea we'd actually be talking about audiobook recording, and I love this. It's like,
Yeah,
so,
what are we doing? I just forgot we were live. I just figured we were just what we were always doing is talking
yeah.
on Zoom.
Well,
We're not.
so
Hi, everyone. Anyone?
hi.
Everyone.
Well, I love that you mentioned how, like, so celebrity, for example, is different to me than someone who you may not be familiar with, like for an
Correct.
audiobook file, right? So
Correct.
like,
Yes.
I love Brian Head Welch. He's one of the guitar players from Korn.
Okay.
And he's got an amazing story. Like, yeah, I mean, your typical like rock and roll lifestyle of excess, like times 10. And then
Yoga
he just decided one day to stop.
granola eating.
What's that?
I said yoga and granola eating.
Yes, all of that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Hi,
Helen.
Helen.
Hey, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Hello, Helen. There she is.
And so did he narrate this Brian Head Welch person? Did he narrate his audiobook?
He did. And you know what's funny is he got away with something I don't think a non-celebrity can get away with. I was forgiving of his audio recording, his narration, because it's him. Like, I want to hear him tell his story. It's his story, which is different too, right? Like, it's kind of an autobiography kind of thing.
Yeah.
But Brian Head Welch is probably not going to get hired anytime soon to narrate someone else's book.
Yeah.
And he's, I mean, I don't want to hear that story from anyone but him, even though he's not the kind of person who's going to narrate books.
Interesting.
Yeah, it wouldn't work anyway, as effectively, I think, with someone else. And I think it just has to do with the nature of his book, you know?
Yeah.
It's his story.
A couple of books that were narrated by celebrities that I thought were fantastic were Will by Will Smith and Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey.
So both actors, right?
Both actors, both performers, but also excellent narrators for their books and their story. And I did not read the physical copy of either of those books, but it sounded like there was a little bit of improv in the delivery, which I enjoyed. And I did that in my audiobook too, because I was reading something and at the end of some of the paragraphs, I ad-libbed a little because who was going to tell me I couldn't?
It's your book.
I'm the boss, right?
Actually like that. I mean, it's a little bit of a different experience than the book is going to give, or if you were to deliver that word for word in some other format.
Right.
So basically what I'm getting out of this is like, you're going to narrate all your own audiobooks from here on out.
I am. I'm going to start with the best-selling book formula, which is 15,000 words. So it will be less painful than a longer book. And then I'll see, right? I can go into a studio.
Yep.
The beautiful thing is I can either create one at home or I can go into a professional studio and lay down the tracks, as the kids say.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to get like screenshots of you with a notepad, thinking really hard about lyrics or something, you know? Okay. Oh, well, we got a David Goggins reference. I'm a big David Goggins fan.
All right. I haven't read his new one. Have we read the new one? I have it. I got it. I just haven't listened to it yet.
I have not. Has someone read his books? Yeah, he does do that. I've heard a sample of that where he has, you know, who else did that was James was Maynard from Tool. He's the lead singer of Tool.
I sense a theme.
Musicians.
Yeah. So Never Finished is his new one.
Okay. That's David Goggins' new one?
Yes.
Yeah. Goggins is a motivation machine, right? And he, that's really cool that he did that. I like that he mixed that up a bit.
Yeah.
By the way, Facebook user, are you still Helen or are you someone else? Because in my mind, I see Helen sitting down listening to David Goggins. That must not be her, because I hear Helen Bullen would like to do hers like that too.
So if you do that, Helen, you can go to findawayvoices.com. They are an audio narration and distribution company for audiobooks, Find a Way Voices. And I'm actually casting for the best-selling book forward, with the best-selling book formula. But since I sent out the casting, they have written me back and said it's taking a little while to cast. We have a lot of projects right now. Stay tuned. And in the meantime, I decided that perhaps I would just go ahead and add that to my list of things to do, which is not short. So I won't get it done really soon, but I will get it done. The You Must Market Your Book audiobook is now live.
Is it?
It is. Buy one for all your
that.
friends.
When did that happen?
It's happening actually. So it's live in a few different places. I can look.
Gotcha.
And it's being distributed everywhere, but these things take time, as one would imagine. So I can tell you where it is right now. Let's see.
That's pretty interesting. I am really focused on getting the workbook and the audiobook for Monetize Your Book with a Course out this year. And the audiobook to me sounds like the more arduous project, obviously. But it also sounds like the more fun project. And I am going to try and narrate it myself at first. Yes, this sweet, sweet voice.
I mean, I didn't want to say anything, but
I thought Tammy would be the one to tell me now, dude, you know, like, don't do it. But she's
no,
like,
I think you should. I do.
She's like, she said, I think you should do it. I can hear you when I'm reading the book. Oh, did you record it or hire a narrator? We got Jody in here.
Hi, Jody. I have done one of my audiobooks, Stop Trying So Effing Hard. That was the book I recorded. The rest of my audiobooks were done by Rob Actis, who is also the voice of the Miracle Morning book series. And so he did You Must Market Your Book.
He did You Must
he did You Must Write a Book.
Right. I was about to say that's where I first heard him on your books. Yeah.
Yep. So he's a pro and wonderful and all of those things. He's just not me. Right. So I get a lot of people that are like, he's great, but he's not you. I want to hear you, which I think is great. Jody, as far as your options are concerned, you can find a narrator through Audible, which is acx.com. You can find one through findawayvoices.com. You can hire a narrator. Like if you find an audiobook that you like, you can connect with that narrator and hire them. You're going to pay $1,000 per finished hour, give or take, depending on the narrator. Or you can do it yourself and pay for it to be produced for a significantly less amount of money and a significant amount of pain and suffering. I'm just saying, like, I did not enjoy the narration process. I was so tired. It's like there's childbirth and audiobook narration, and they are like almost identical. So tired. The good news is after you give birth, you don't get any sleep. After you record an audiobook, you do, right? You can.
So I was trying to look for the silver lining there.
Silver lining is childbirth wears you out and then you never sleep again. Audiobook narration, you give birth to a revenue generating asset and then you can go take a nap. So I feel like the pain is equal, but the upside for one is higher than the other, at least long term. So nevertheless.
I'm glad I've had some experience with recording in the music industry before, because I might be terrified hearing this and then thinking about my audiobook later this year. Now it is a very sensitive thing to do when you're recording audio and it's isolated like that. It is a lot more difficult than I think a lot of people think. You've got pacing, you've got microphone selection, you've got dictation, you've got all of it, and you have to be consistent across multiple phones. Yep.
Performance, and then you have to be consistent. You can't be like, well, it's chapter 6 and now I'm tired.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, you can tell I've got some of the audiobooks that I have that are nonfiction. You can hear the difference in that, like, it's a different day. Right.
Yeah.
Time of day is a big thing. I've had to consult some of my course clients because they're recording audio courses or video courses. And I'm like, what time did you record that last file you sent over? And they're like, uh-oh, like busted.
11:37 p.m.
Yeah. And I've done it myself where I'm like watching a video the next day. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like bags, tired,
You
the
were
voice is shot.
pushing through, getting it
Just
done,
pushing through.
getting
You
it done.
cannot get away with that in an audiobook. You might get some leverage with that in video, but in an audiobook, that's all like that is not going to work.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you didn't have a studio, you got to be real careful about your recording space. And I've actually recommended some of my clients use their bedroom closet if they have a walk-in closet.
Go into the closet.
Yep. Go into the closet.
Because
Don't forget to turn the light on first. Yeah. Carpet, all the clothes, everything. It's a naturally, well, not naturally, but it's a normally very insulated space. And it's isolated from the rest of the house, and you can focus and yeah, all the things. And so it's just amazing what you can do now with technology, because you don't have to lug like a whole recording studio worth of recording gear. Now you can, certain phones have applications that you can do recording on. Laptop. I've done audio recordings with a laptop in a bedroom closet with a professional microphone, and they sound phenomenal. But it is very time consuming. And then the file type, obviously, you have to make sure that whatever recording medium you're using, whatever software you're using, will produce the right file type so that you can convert it or load it later without losing the fidelity of the recording. So if you're using a software to put it all together, you have to make sure you're using the right file type. Good stuff. Look at us. Just like sprinkle water on an audiobook.
That's right. That's right.
So you want to talk a little bit about the webinar we did yesterday?
I do want to talk about the webinar we did. First of all, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And that was the first time you and I have done an actual like planned, scheduled webinar where that was the intent of meeting.
Yes. Yes. And well, I had a good time. Oh, there's Phil. Hey, Phil, we're going to have to come back to the webinar because it's Phil.
Phil.
When you use a narrator, it is a different experience when it was recorded by the author. I think it can be. I don't know how long you've been listening, but I was talking at the earlier, a long time ago, maybe 15 minutes ago, about how I've had a narrator do my audiobooks except for one, which Byron texted me and said I was being dramatic with my comparison to childbirth. Whatever.
When you read his text, do they come across in that sweet caramel voice in your head?
Yes, actually, with a hint of caramel plus sarcasm, melted caramel plus sarcasm.
It's a little saltier than usual.
It's a little salted caramel, which we don't like around here. I think for the listener reader who does not know the author, I don't think it actually matters because they don't know any different.
Right.
But if I know someone, which is why I think that Will and Greenlights, I liked so much because I know both of those actors. I'm a fan of their work, right? So
what's the turnaround usually on something like that? When you've done one that's been narrated, I mean, is it, and I know it depends on word count and their availability and what's going on in their world as well. But like, what's your experience been like for a turnaround on that?
Well, it's whatever you ask them to do. So when I have been writing a book and I want the book to be narrated and released on or about the same date as the rest of the books, I've always contacted Rob to say, okay, and this is my recommendation for anyone who wants to outsource their narration, is you reach out to someone and you say, I am writing a book. It's going to be about X number of words, because then they know how long it's going to take them to get to a finished hour, so they can estimate how much the project will cost. And then I ask, how long do you need to produce 30,000 words, 50,000 words, 70,000 words, 80,000 words, whatever that looks like. And so then I work back from the launch date. So if we have a May 1st launch date, and they need to get the book. And in order for me to have the finished files, P.S., the finished files aren't the finished files until the author has reviewed them.
Oh,
so you need to go through. So I have had to go through dozens of books, reading the manuscript and listening to the audio and seeing where, because the narrator is like an author. We can clean it up so much, but then you have to have someone come behind you. So they normally have someone to edit and produce the files, but that's a small team and there are things that are missed. So when I went through You Must Market Your Book, there were probably a dozen things that were missed in the production of the first version of the final files. So what you'll hear are repetitive phrases where the narrator said something and then said it again in a better way. And so those two things got put together. So you repeated this bullet point twice, or you said this sentence twice, or you missed this entire sentence entirely. So they have to go back through and fix it. So you have to listen to all 2, 3, 4, 7 hours of audio while you're reading, and then send back the corrections. And then they have to be redone and remastered and then sent back to you. And then once you have all of them, then you upload them. Also, you're going to want to look at the places where you upload the files, because every piece of the audiobook has to be uploaded independently. So you don't just upload one long 7-hour thing. You have the opening credits, the introduction, any opt-in, chapter 1, chapter 2, blah, 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 blah. And then the back matter, author notes, et cetera, et cetera. So those are all individual files: front matter, main content, back matter, and it's uploaded just like, right, Helen. Yeah, no joke, Helen. I don't know that I would do it for Agnes B, Cancer, and Me.
It's a little bit of a book.
That is a doorstop of a book, which means it would be a really long, it would be a really long. For those that are
wondering what we're talking about,
it would be really funny because it would really accentuate your sense of humor. But man, I would want to outsource that, and you would expect to pay like $10,000 for that. US. Yeah. The listening to the book to check for errors is not a painful process. It's just a time-consuming process because you don't want to rush it. And the minute you check out, you have to stop. Because you can't just go, right? It's like word for word for word for word for word for word, all the words, every single word. And then there's the fact that I always find errors when I'm reviewing the physical copy of the book right? So there's that aspect too. It's just producing a book is not what some people think that it is. It's not just so quick and easy to do it really well.
I didn't even think about that while you're going through reviewing the narration, you're probably going to find things in your book that need to be fixed. And so I guess you really should. Okay. All right. Now I'm really regretting not doing it during the writing of the book. Because it's going to be like, oh, I found something. Yeah.
You're always going to find something. Just be okay with it. Just be at peace with the fact that no book is 100% perfect.
Yeah, I think by the time you get through part of that narration, you're like, I'm okay with it. Let it ride. We're good. Just get this over with.
Yes. Who cares? No one cares. If I don't care, you shouldn't care.
So Helen's reading her book on TikTok right now. I know that we've had like Bridget Cutchild did that on YouTube with the book she wrote about her stepfather. Which is really cool. I mean, if you have followers on those channels, they eat this stuff up. Yeah, it's great.
You can do it if you want. That's the beautiful part. And there's no deadline for it.
Right. Yeah, there's no deadline. Yeah, exactly. Helen, I'm interested in your feedback on what you mean by it's going well. Like, how do you qualify what you consider well for like an online reading like that? Is it just like numbers of views? Is it like feedback? Is it both? Like, what are you particularly looking for? Did I say that right? Particularly looking for in that experience, right? Because I think with like book sales and audiobook sales, we're looking at reviews and we're looking at numbers of items moving, right?
Yeah.
Books sold, audiobooks sold, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. She'd be like, you kind of leave yourself open to comments from people that are like, I think your narration sucks. You know, like, oh, thanks for weighing in on my YouTube channel, dude. Appreciate that.
Yeah. And again, don't care.
Well, yeah, we just filmed a video that you guys will see post on the YouTube channel in the next week that talks about confidence and how, you know, Honoree does a really nice job of talking about how you kind of have to let go of other people's thoughts about your work
and yourself and your person,
right?
What they think about you and what they think about your work. Honestly, at some point you have to say, here is the group of people I really care about. I care about their opinion. I care about what they think of me. I care about what they think of my work, and everyone else, I can't care. I have a well of caring. And when it comes to certain people, it's outside of that. So the number of hits and comments, I need 1,000 to get the sale link on TikTok. I'm about 30 people short, but should be there by the end of this week. Is someone giving you a hard time? I may have to go over to YouTube. I have something to say. Uh-oh, Helen's on the warpath. No, we were just talking about, we did a video, which will be on this channel in a few days, a couple of weeks, I'm not sure, about confidence being the one thing that if people don't have it, they're not going to be as successful as they want to be. And we were talking about things that undermine confidence. And one of those things is listening to the opinions of other people. And some of those people, it really doesn't serve you to care what they think. It's like launching your book to everyone, right? I have a prospective client right now. He wants to do a book. His book is almost done. And he's like, well, my book is really for everyone. I'm like, there's no book that's for everyone.
Right.
Might be one book that's for everyone, but
there's definitely someone for it, but it's not everyone.
Yes, there is an audience for every book, but the audience for no book. There is no book for whom the audience is everyone.
Right.
And so I said, I appreciate that. I see what you're doing, because I'm not going to say the topic. But if the topic were eating, right, then an author could say, well, everybody eats. So this book therefore is for everyone. Well, no, you get rich in a niche, right? The deeper you can go into a niche and identify. So then it's why books on eating a certain way, like keto or vegetarian, which whatever, right? I'm sure I'm going to get a text about the vegetarian comment in just a second. For the peanut gallery will weigh in on my immediate choice of food topic, of eating topic. But you could say for everyone, but when you think it's for everyone, then it's really for no one. You have to really go niche and only talk about your niche. So when you're caring about what people think, there is an audience for you, and that audience is not everyone. I am reading the book 2 Weeks Notice by Amy Porterfield, which is very good. It's for people who are employed and they want to kind of give their 2 weeks notice and become entrepreneurs. And she's talking people through this. And she launched something and it wasn't as successful as she wanted. And one of her accountability people wrote her back and said, you know, this person's criticizing me or whatever. And the person wrote back and said, you ain't for everybody, boo. Right. You have an audience and that person wasn't in it. I always think it's interesting when someone is not part of an audience, but they want to burn the house down on their way out. Like, this isn't the house for me, so I'm going to burn it to the ground on my way out, or they try to.
Yeah. It's like,
if someone is an ideal client for something and they think this is terrible, that's different than if they are just someone who, you know, well, I don't read, but I think your book sucks. Okay.
Right. Right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to say to that. So I tend not to say anything, but it makes me go,
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to go back to webinar topic since we're halfway through our.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the webinar.
Yeah.
So yesterday was fun. We used Restream, this same platform we use for our lives, and we broadcast it to our YouTube and Facebook channels, the exclusive EVMC channels. So anyone who was subscribed on either our Facebook group or our YouTube channel would get a notification when it was scheduled. And we also sent out emails to our respective email lists saying, we're going to do this. If you guys want to jump in with this, it'd be great. And we had a really strong showing, which I thought was fun. And I mean, for anyone who knows us, this is what we like to do. We like to live in the moment with our friends and talk about things that we really care about. So we talked about marketing and monetizing a book.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
And as they would say in the UK, I did a teach on book marketing and you did a teach on monetizing your book with a course. And it was really fun. We should probably talk a little bit about the execution process of the webinar and why we chose the strategy that we did for pricing and delivery and stuff like that.
Yeah, this was a really good conversation that you and I had earlier in the process. Like, how do we actually want to do this, right? Because we could make it so it was so exclusive that only people who responded to the emails get access through a sign-up link on a private feed. And in that case, Restream wouldn't have been the best option for us. We would have used some type of webinar-specific format. But that's really not how we do things. And it's not how we built our audience and our business. And we really like being able to share it with people that are loyal to those two channels, right? To the YouTube channel and to the Facebook group. We're like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to do that, right? Like, why would you keep that content from them? So that's one of the reasons why we chose to not only do the webinar with the people in our email list who signed up, but also putting the live feed out on the YouTube and Facebook channels so that people that are subscribed there or people that found the topic interesting can join us. So I thought that was a lot of fun. So
yes. Well, and we did something interesting with pricing because always before when I have done webinars, there has been a webinar pricing and you all know what happens, right? There's this, I don't want to say false urgency, but okay, it's false urgency where you go, oh, the price is only going to be the price. And then you never do it again until the next time. Right? It's like how about the mattress place that's gone out of business like every week since 1984, right? You drive by it and it's like going out of business and the sign is in shreds and blowing in the wind and still in there, still selling. And so we did a graduated sale. We said, if you're watching and you get it now, then you get it at the best price that there is, because we're only going to do that particular webinar one time. So best price is for 2 days. Next best price is for the following 2 days. And then it's going to be an evergreen webinar because then someone can watch it in 2027 and go, oh, I need these 2 courses. I need to market my book better. I need to monetize my book with a course. And they can get those 2 courses and have a discount. So I like the way that we did it because we only have to do the webinar one time, share the content. It's evergreen content. We can put it up on our course platform, making it a free webinar that people can download and learn from. If they find it on YouTube, great. If they find it through Thinkific, great. And so I kind of like that methodology. It's in alignment with my philosophy of business, which is make it easy for people to do business with you, make it easy for people to pay you, make it easy for people to discover you, and make it easy for people to learn from you.
Yeah. I loved every bit of it. When we first started talking about how we wanted to do this, you had pitched the pricing structure. I'm over here talking like we're in a like you had mentioned the pricing structure that you put together. And I was like, I love that because it's clean and it's genuine and there's no hidden anything in there. And anyone who knows us and anyone who attended that webinar can tell you that we were very clear about exactly what we were doing and what type of course bundle this is and how we structured it. And I thought that was brilliant because I think, you know, part of the problem with sales is that when you are not confident that you're doing something genuine, it comes across in your energy. People are not going to know, like, and trust you to the same degree. Our communities, our email lists do not get beat up on this kind of stuff every week. This is a unique thing. We don't do this all the time. So I think when you put all those pieces together, it really is that's what you would want to be a part of, right? As a person attending. And I love the evergreen part. So for people that aren't familiar with that, we're going to convert this into a free course that you can attend on Thinkific. And you can see it there just like you can see it on the YouTube channel right now. And you'll be able to learn in that setting for free, just like anyone else who attended it live, but you will not have the opportunity to take advantage of the offer that's made to the same degree in the live webinar. And that's the benefit of attending those live events. So
Right.
Loved it. Okay. So lessons learned, things I could have done better for the webinar. I always like to do this, like a little hot wash.
Okay, we're going to do this now. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Lightning round.
This is on me, right? I'm just going to pick on myself at first here. So I think that it was perfect. Never mind. No, I'm just kidding.
Hang on.
Yeah, and we're done. That was it.
And we're done. Okay. All right.
I think I want to experiment a little bit with platforms because as much fun as it was to do with Restream, and I love Restream. I mean, I love this whole thing. And people gave us some positive feedback later. Like, it was really cool to see the comments pop up on the screen. And,
for sure.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit more interactive. It also encourages people to speak because they like to see, you know, that they're heard and their voices. They're not just getting lost in the shuffle on a chat feed. They're actually on the screen. But at the same time, I think it is nice every once in a while to have like an exclusive thing. So I think at some point I do want to think about how best to approach an exclusive offer to people that are like part of like my membership or part of, and for those purposes, I wouldn't use Restream. So a little note to me, some homework to do is like, if I do want to make this exclusive, what's the best way to serve those people that kind of matches this same approach, you know?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. I thought the timing was great. We ran for about an hour and a half, I think it was. Yeah. So we didn't hold back. We taught. There was a lot of content delivered. And
I don't like. I don't like webinars that give you just enough that you feel confused.
Right.
And so I don't like the ones that are like, I'm going to teach you this. And then they're like, psych, you have to get the course.
Yeah, I'm just going to
question. Webinars are to sell something, right? People come to webinars to learn something. That's why the participant comes. They want to learn something. They want to know if the people that they're learning from know their stuff. And from the presenter perspective, we have something that we want to sell that we've created that's beneficial. And so we want to connect with the right people. Yep. That's why we're all there, right? Let's call a spade, which is why you do webinar pricing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But I have attended so many webinars where they gave me almost enough information that I could have been successful if they just would have given me a little bit more. Just like help me make one distinction, help me do one thing well, and then I'm going to give you my money. Because then you build trust because you gave me something that I don't have to give you my money. I could go away and make money or do something better or profit or produce something or be productive or whatever. I never have to give you anything, right?
Yep.
Which increases the likelihood that I'm actually going to pay you. If you make me mad, then I'm never going to pay you.
Yeah, you feel like you wasted your time.
Yeah, you could have told me the things. It's why I go, okay, the best-selling book formula. Here are the 4 things. Do these things when you write your book. I have a book about it. I have an action guide. I have a course, but I've told everybody what the 4 things are. Now, do I think they can do it without some deeper explanation? Probably not, which is why I was able to write a whole book about it and create a whole course. But I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to give you 2 of the 4, Sonny.
Give the first word of each sentence.
Yep. It needs to be easy. Easy to what? Well, you have to buy the book and find out. Make sure it's easy. Just kidding. Right? I think a lot of people do that. I'm not sure what webinar school they go to or what marketing school or what online learning school they go to, but they're not going to the school of building goodwill and better friendships. Right? So I'm going to go back to the Rotary 4-way test. And for people that don't know what Rotary is, it's a community service organization that's international. And there's the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Does it build goodwill and better friendships? And is it beneficial to all concerned? And so when you run things through those 4 filters, then you don't go, well, you want to make sure it's easy. Okay, thanks. Click the buy now button. Good luck, everybody. You say, here's what you need to know, what I can tell you in this one-way conversation where I'm teaching you something. Now, if you want to go next level, right? You can say you want to monetize your book with a course, use your book as the basis for your course, build a course based on your outline of your book. Make sure you have really good recording and camera equipment. Thinkific is your platform. Yay. Have a nice day, everybody.
There goes the book.
There goes the book. Nobody's going to buy that now. I mean, but honestly, who is going to confuse what I just said with 150 pages of content? Who's going to confuse what I said with a course that they can invest in?
That's confidence.
Right. Well, I want someone to win. I want them to feel like, okay, can I use my book? Here's the questions I need to ask myself. Yep. What's the difference between the outcome for a reader and an outcome for a learner? Thanks for clearing that up. It gave me something to think about. And now I realize I have a lot of what I need or some of what I need. There's more and I'd like to get it. And here's my American Express card, right? Everybody wins. Everybody wins then.
Right.
Was that a rant? Did I officially rant on YouTube?
I loved it. That was like, guys, we did it. We ranted.
Take away her sandwich and give her 3 cups of coffee and see what happens.
I think, but you make several really good points. One of which is, I think people are nervous about giving too much away. And to me, that's a sign of immaturity in your product or your business as an entrepreneur. Not saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying we all go through this growth period where, we're trying to figure out what's right. And there's a natural hesitation to just give away the farm. And then you realize if you built the farm right, there's no way you can give it away.
No way you can give away the farm. And it's like when I'm talking to someone about their book idea and he's like, well, I want to send you my book, but I need you to sign a non-disclosure. And I'm thinking, oh no. I mean, I'll sign it. I'll sign your non-disclosure, but the chances of anyone stealing your idea, really stealing it, are so minimal. Yeah. Because I'm going to take his manuscript and pretend that I'm an expert in his field and publish it.
Yeah.
Probably
not. It's not fiction. It's like,
no,
you didn't make this up.
No, and there's that also, right? I think if you have enough ideas and you're at bat enough, you're not so concerned with people stealing from you. It's like when people worry what other people think, you wouldn't worry what other people are thinking when you realize they're not. They're neither thinking nor thinking about you. And if they are, you're living rent-free in their head. And that's a conversation for a therapist another day.
Which, by the way, in your agreement, it specifically states that's not your job. You're not a therapist.
I am not a therapist. It says that in my agreement. Like, I am sorry because no.
I shamelessly stole that from your agreement. I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
Because, for my coaching clients, I felt like that was a thing that they never really hear from somebody, and they really need to hear that. I thought that was really good. Yeah. So I thought the webinar went really well. If you're thinking about doing it, I think that you have to choose the software that works for your audience first, and that you works for you second. And you got to be able to pull that off without getting crazy. We didn't do anything terribly complex, like run videos and stuff. We had a presentation deck and 2 speakers, and it worked really well with Restream. You can do the same thing with StreamYard. I've used StreamYard for this before. For those that are like big Zoom aficionados, Zoom has a separate Zoom webinar product. It's different than their regular Zoom meetings. Zoom meetings does have a cap on the number of people that can attend. So if you think you're gonna have a really big audience and you really need to manage with a webinar style, you might want to look at Zoom webinars. No, I'm not an affiliate. No, I don't make any money off of those referrals. Just saying.
I think everyone has Zoom by now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone on planet Earth basically has Zoom.
Yeah. And I really didn't want to use Zoom for this particular webinar because I did want it to have that interactive.
I like it. I liked it. I like it when you all post things in the chat. Y'all are very quiet right now. What do you think about our ranting and information about webinars? Do you have any webinar questions?
Does anyone want to know what kind of food we talked about in the webinar? Because we did.
We did. We found out the history of something.
That's right.
Very cool. And if you got did the email go out, Lucas, with the replay?
No, we're gonna hit send on it as soon as we're done here.
Okay. All right. Well,
I didn't want to kill the system with
we have a little something fun in the email.
Right. That's right. Now,
and a link where you can buy, obviously.
Yep. And do you want to talk a little bit about that structure that we provided? I think it might be nice to talk about, like, we set up basically 2 or 3 milestones and attached unique prices to them. So, and this was great. I think Honoree and I took about 10 minutes for us to hash this out together. And when you have 2 people involved in this and you're talking about dates and pricing, it can take a little bit longer, but for us, it only took 10 minutes. It was fast. And that's because it's really not that complicated, guys. We knew what we wanted to do for the percentage discounts by milestone. Friday night is a milestone. Sunday night's a milestone. So if you make a purchase before Friday, you get this steep discount. It's a little less of a discount. Yeah. And then on Sunday night at midnight, it's a little less. And then after that, it's an evergreen price, which is discounted from the price of those 2 products by themselves. And
it was fairly straightforward. You want to reward people for coming to the webinar. So we provided a 40% discount for the first 2 days, 30 for the second 2 days, and 25 forever. There's a giveaway in there. So I paid $3,000 for the legal agreement that I'm sharing. And so that covers the cost of your investment. So, and also there's one other tool that I provided that I created myself. So it's priceless, obviously. No, but it's helpful. So let's go with helpful over priceless, which is helpful because you can't sell something that's priceless, right? So something that's helpful and something that's legal that's helpful. And it was very simple. We wanted to reward the people that came to the webinar, regardless of when they come, with a concession and a gift. And honestly, I'm the type of person, and I recommend everyone do this too. If someone reaches out to me and I have webinar pricing, and either I just did a webinar or I'm going to do a webinar or there is a webinar, if I have webinar pricing on it and the person is cool, sometimes I'll just say like, hey, I have a webinar pricing link. Let me resurrect it for you, or let me create a coupon code for you. Or knowing that there is, and this is LMS speak, there's an order bump in there. So they're automatically going to be able to save if they buy this and that.
Right.
Why would you not? It's kind of, why would you not treat your new customer and your best customer equally? It's always like new customers at AT&T get a free phone, but the suckers that have been around for 10 years, we're going to hose you.
Actually investing in the company.
Yeah. Yeah. So you get to pay if you're the chump that's been a loyal customer, but the new people coming over from Verizon, they get a new phone, a free one, right? I've always thought, well, that's not cool. I'm not a fan of that. So I always try to think like, I want to commence a lifetime mutually beneficial win-win relationship. for the good of all concerned. So I try to think, what would I want someone to do for me? And anytime someone goes, let me give you $100 off, let me give you $1,500 off, let me save you some time, I'm always like, that's really cool. You didn't have to do that. I was about to pay full price anyway. Amazing. Thank you. I'll take it. There you go.
Yeah. It's like, thank you. It's like, I appreciate that.
Yeah. We're working hard. We're working hard for the money that we used to pay for things. So, anyway, thank you, Phil.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Phil.
We were talking about you, Phil, this morning, how we appreciated you coming to the webinar and being interactive. Because some people come and they just watch, and we love you all too, but we don't know who you are all the time. So we'd love for you to participate, say things.
Yeah.
Say nice things.
I put a link to the webinar, the YouTube replay. I was just thinking it might be a good idea to do that. I dropped it in the chat. I'm going to put a second one in. I think it might be a little shorter. Yeah, it just doesn't have the share on it. So if anyone wants, this is the actual YouTube link. I'll leave it up on the screen in case you can't swipe it.
Helen is listening. Thank you, Helen.
I will read the link to you out loud, Helen. I'm just kidding.
youtube.com/live. And then hold on, let me see if I can do this. Alpha Kilo Foxtrot Charlie Quebec Victor Juliet, the number 2 Mike 3 Lima.
Yes. You did it. You're in. You don't know it, but you've got push-ups coming in 10 minutes. You better hurry up and eat. You're officially in boot camp now.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, I thought I was saying the military alphabet, so I didn't have to do push-ups.
Oh no, the phonetic alphabet just got you enlisted. Now you're in. You've got a 4-year commitment.
You know what? The only part of being in the military that I would like is the PT in the morning.
Yeah.
I got to do that for a year of my life. I got to go to SEAL Team PT, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. I freaking loved it. I was in great shape. It was super fun. Like, I was the weirdo spouse that was like, I want to go. Right. And then I would never run 6 miles with a boat over my head because I thought that was a little excessive, but I did the calisthenics.
You're like, I'll time you guys.
Yes. I'll run behind you. I'll run beside you. But the whole, like, right. Running 6 miles with a boat over your head. Like, why are you doing that? Is someone chasing you? They're like, well, not yet. But if they are, we want to be able to escape. Hello. Oh, all right. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the morning PT thing is a blessing and a curse. It's funny because you never get over complaining when you're waking up, but right after it's done, you're like, all right, we're good.
That feels good. Yeah, that feels good. Yeah.
We are good. Like, my students were never excited when we ran PT on the base. And I ran it every morning for 4 years. Every morning I was the fitness team leader. They were never excited to see me first thing in the morning in January, right? Like, when they knew
probably not.
I was just standing there staring at the thermometer, because if it was 33 degrees, you were running or higher.
Why?
32 or below.
Running when it's cold is the best.
Yeah, we couldn't run them in frozen because of ice hazards.
Oh.
We ran in the dark, literally in the battlefields in Yorktown.
Weak.
So really cool. But
put on a toboggan, get out there, rub some dirt on it, put on an extra layer.
I must admit, it was kind of nice having the power to be standing there in front of that thermostat or thermometer, and they're all looking at you. And I'm like, all right, we're staying inside. And they're like, oh my God. But then we would actually make the experience more difficult.
Yeah, of course.
Indoors.
Burpees? Anyone? Burpees?
Yeah, we say, let's jump on the pain train. And it's amazing what you can do in a basketball court with other people. And the pain train would take you to different stations.
Yeah.
And
yikes, that doesn't sound fun. Not even to me.
It was a blast.
Not even to me. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. And we'd have like 8 instructors pulling them out, like jump on the pull-up bar, go, go, go. You know, like then the whole train would stop and push upville. And then everyone would be up, and you don't stop moving for 45 minutes. It's just a really good morning. It's a good way to wake up.
Is it?
That way. So, all right. Well, hey, look, anyone else have any questions? Anything you want to ask us? Anything? We just really wanted to jump on live today and have kind of an impromptu conversation about how the week's been going, and audiobooks and webinars and all the fun things.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you guys tuning in with us.
Yes, thank you.
Wait, and when exactly? Hold on. Is it 2 weeks out?
Yes.
2 weeks out. So 2 weeks from now, on the 27th, we will not be.
We won't be live. We will be Memorex.
Memorex. That's right.
Remember that?
I do. Yeah. I can see it in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. We will be Memorex because we will be busy. But we're not going to tell you what we're doing because we don't want everyone to know. That's a real thing right there.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. But if you know, you know.
It's not because we don't love you.
No. It's just because we don't love everyone.
It's like, yeah, we don't love
us. We love you, but kill you.
We don't love the people we don't know on social media right now that could be watching this.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, Honoree, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you to Helen and Phil. And I can.
Yeah.
Jody, thank you for your questions and for showing up and hanging out with us. And if you didn't say anything and you're watching, hello and goodbye. And we'll see you next week during our live. And we just hope we get to connect with you some other way. So give us a like and a share and a ring the bell and all the things. Mm-hmm. Link to our live webinar from yesterday. All kinds of free tools in there as well. Good information. And anything else, Mr. Lucas?
No, ma'am. You have rocked the conclusion. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Do what I can.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.